What if I told you that you can close more deals, work fewer hours, and never let a lead slip through the cracks without even lifting a finger? In today's episode, we're diving into real estate automation, the tools, the systems, the workflows, on how we scaled our business while staying laser focused on what really matters. In today's episode, obviously, we got Peter Boutros, I'm Sharif Atab, and we got our guest, Omar Harper from the Beacon area in New York. So, Omar, tell us a little how you're implementing automations into your workflows and systems that helps you scale.
Well, one of my initial things I felt that was needed was I noticed that in many cases, you're expecting or you're asking the agent themselves, if you're running a team or even as agents ourselves, to be fast to the lead. We always say speed to lead. We always hear about speed to lead, but in a lot of cases, you're not able to actually do that if you could be driving and it's going to be difficult to then open up and get to that lead and answer it immediately as possible. So one of the first changes that I really made as of last year was I implemented taking a system that was going to allow every lead that came into our website, into our database in any way, shape, or form, to be reached out to and called within about a 30-second period. But it also was done in a manner where it called the agent. And then it would round robin off to the next agent if necessary. So if I'm in an appointment, then I know one of my other agents is going to now get that call. It's not going to necessarily be me, but it's going to allow us to make it where we have a faster spin and transition to that lead so that I know for sure that the conversion is happening. We've been averaging now getting to a lead in about the first minute after it registering. Many a times we're talking to someone while they're still on our, we're reaching out and calling the person while they're still literally on the site. And that's probably been a big change in 2024 for us in reference to what has helped to bring up and scale our business. Because now the initial call and even the foregoing follow-up calls are no longer something that the person has to think about. It kind of just happens on a timed cadence automatically.
Nice. So basically, you took control of accountability and also speed to lead, which are two really essential pieces of being successful in real estate. And you kind of automated that, right?
Correct.
Yes.
We were able to take and just make it to where literally we run them off a 3x3. So every lead gets hit 3 times a day for the first 3 days, 3 times a week, next 3 weeks. And it just continues out over time. And makes it to where there's really no way that a lead can be really forgotten about in this case, at least in the initial call stage. Then we started working on some automations on the back end to increase and better our follow-up. Cause then I started to realize after we got that part down, we have that piece down and locked in with the speed to lead and actually initially speaking to that lead. It's now because we all know you can speak to a lead, you can start to have a conversation with a buyer, you can even have a great conversation and build rapport. But if you never actually speak to that person again, if you never actually take the time to take that next conversation with them to help move it to the next level, you'll lose that relationship, which will then also lose that transaction. So one of the pieces I did in that same setup was allow the agents to select at the end of the prompt after the call, select the button that allows you to set a follow-up, so that it was automatically making it to where they'll go in, they'll receive a form in their email, and they're literally able to log in the day and the time they want to make that follow-up call to that person now automatically. So it was able to make it where now we're able to keep the first step and the second step in line in reference to if we talk to them and we need to talk to them in a week. The agent's not even have to thinking about it. Once they set it, they can go about doing whatever they're doing. Because a lot of times we're busy, we're on the road, we're doing various things. A lot of times I'll set that notification, and at the end of the day, all the emails I had for it, I just sit down and fill out. Maybe go back, listen to the call real quick, but it's a reminder to keep in contact with that person and follow up with them on the back end.
I want to dive deeper a little bit more because some of the listeners might not even have a CRM or don't know the importance of a CRM. So can we go back a little bit and tell us, what is a CRM and why should real estate agents be doing everything in their CRM?
Well, when we first talking about what is CRM, CRM is basically the best way to keep a mass amount of contacts or in a database organized. You can start to use different things to tag it. Like I have a tag for investors. So anytime I see it's a potential good investment opportunity, I just look for that tag of investors and I send it to that entire list. I even have it segmented down to their buy and hold or their flippers. So now if there's something that's a good flip, I'll take it and send it to them. If it's a good by and hold on to because the rental income is already there or something along that lines, I can do it. But you can't do that if you're running. A lot of times people say, well, I run everything out of a spreadsheet. That's great. But you have no real searchability inside that spreadsheet. It's very difficult to set a task down the line to remember to follow up with that person. And, a lot of times you're able to see a CRM many times will attach to a website. So I'm able to notice activity. I'm able to automate, like one of my automations is that if a lead returns back to their site, we run them right back into that same call sequence. So if they haven't been on our site in 8 months and they pop back in, we hit them back within 30 seconds. So they're still literally on the site, but you wouldn't be able to do that in a spreadsheet or anything like that. So a CRM is really the basis of data and contact management. If you're not going to be managing your contact and build base, time helps you to really grow and scale. You have past clients, you have things that you can use, keep up, and build people online too.
That's great. And one of the things too that I've noticed especially with the CRM, it can help save a lot of time for real estate agents, right? And one of those things would be like exactly what you said, setting up tasks and having automations. Like you don't have to rely on memory anymore to be able to make certain tasks or take certain actions on the lead. And one of those things too, like, and I believe you do the same thing, right? Like if you get them to an open house and you can just get them to sign right into the CRM, like you can automate a follow-up task the following day to call them, or like X amount of hours to call them and make sure that they're, set up on a search alert, right? Like a lot of these things will help save you time. And with the AI now, I think that also helps a lot. Are you utilizing AI at all, Omar?
I am. I use it more primarily right now for helping me to create a lot of the smart plans that I run. I'm starting to use it a little bit more Zapier-wise to read and help better organize information that I have coming into it. I'm really more testing that right now. I haven't necessarily released anything like that, but to your point, Peter, in reference to the open house piece, like I'm literally going out with someone today from an open house and I followed the exact steps that my open house follow-up plan states. You know what I mean? And part of it is automated. I figured mathematically, if an open house ends at 3:00, the worst case scenario, if I have it text someone 2 hours after they signed in for the open house, that means it's 5:00. You're normally still not even necessarily in dinner time, at the least of it. So 2 hours later, a text goes to them, just thanking you for coming. It was so great meeting you. I look forward. If you have any questions about the property, please let me know. And I can do, just kind of a really quick baseline text. And then the steps start to go on from there, set up a property search for them, call them the next day. And literally, I just followed my own open house plan. And I have a buyer I'm going out with today based off of an open house last weekend.
Right. That's perfect. I mean, we're talking about also, automations within your CRM and then automations outside your CRM and, what enhances it. But it also always comes back to your CRM. Everything is basically the heart of your business. But different things that we've had success with is just the automated emails based on, lead type activity within the CRM. So it's great to have that, interface within an IDX to your CRM system so you get that feedback and base those automations on it. But just when we're talking about what you did too, Omar, when you said that you made some changes with accountability and also speed to lead, how long ago did you do that? And what kind of an impact did that do on your business?
Well, I would say we had the year before, I had a lead source that I've been using for a while, probably about 2 years. And we went from it being probably, I'm a big believer, and I caution all agents out there, anytime you pay for a lead source, first and foremost, yeah, do some lead source suck? Absolutely. But the thing is, it comes down to is, and I'll be honest and I'll be frank and be able to speak about myself. Some of the stuff I set up on it, it was me that sucked. You actually had to get
people get that confused. It's not the leads that suck. It's either us or our process that sucks. Well, how'd that work out?
So once I was able to do that, we were able to take from the same lead source in a 6-month period where the 6 month prior, we were feeling like we were getting really no conversions, to from May to the end of the year, we had about 180 that we've actually had conversations with and conversions on, which are probably sitting at about 15 to 20% of a conversion ratio to actually people that we now have spoken to, based off of just increasing the speed to lead and fixing that system. So that's what kind of started this snowball of just increasing all the setups on the background to make it where I know that my agents can most easily follow up and stay on top of the lead and really be able to further that relationship.
So you made those changes, you implemented them around May. Is that what you're saying?
May 17th. I remember the
May
day very well.
17th, you know, to the date. You must have made an impact on your business. So I want numbers wise. I get it. Like, you know, the conversations, you know, the actual success with contacting people, the follow-up success. I get that. But when you get down to the nitty gritty, what did that look like, say, on the pending or closing side of things? How did that, like, say, percentage wise, what happened to your business?
I would say on the same, so we're still out running around with a lot of the people from that conversions, but I would say we went from the previous year, maybe closing 4 or 5 of that lead source to where now by the end of 2024, we had 10 pending in that one. And I think right now, 10 closed, excuse me. And I think right now we're sitting at right about the same 10 pending to start the year with that same lead source that I can see us. I just think by looking at the numbers and how we've been converting, we'll probably end up closing 20 to 30 deals just off of that, which is the same lead source I was analyzing, getting rid of. But
That's great.
It was one of,
that's all of a change.
yeah,
like 7 or 8 months ago, and you picked up like 20 or 30 transactions out of it. That's nuts.
Yeah. It was a big change. Now, like I said, now the piece is just making sure that everything is cleaned up on the back end to allow it to be as easy and seamless as possible for us to really. And a lead, most people say a lead is a lead coming in. The minute you think of it as only a lead, I think they're going to just kind of push it to the side. That's a relationship. I mean, every single person that you get on the phone with is to get to know someone else, and not just in reference to a real estate transaction. Because there was a couple of times, there's a lady that I spoke to who never sold or bought a house with me at all. She was dealing with some health issues when I first spoke to her. We had a great conversation. I honestly, just to how I am, called her a couple months later just to see how she was doing, to see if she was feeling good. I used my CRM to set a task to remind me. But, you know, I checked in with her a couple months later. She was so ecstatic about that. Then a month later, she gave me her niece and her daughter-in-law in reference to helping them purchase. So she still never purchased with me. But that relationship turned into 2 transactions that I wasn't even expecting. It just was because the person just wanted someone else additionally to care. That's all it was.
I mean, one of the things too that I wanted to touch on that I just heard you say, and I think it's one of the most powerful things that the CRM does is tracking, right? Tracking the number of calls, tracking the number of conversations and closed deals. Because if you don't know what the number is, you're not going to know where to make changes. So you were able to track that lead source. You were not converting it very well because you know, like, for example, you're getting 100 leads, but you spoke to 2 of them. And then you wanted to see, like, now you can go back and figure out what the problem is. If you don't have a CRM to be able to give you those metrics, like, you're not going to be able to know what to change, right? So like, you have one lead source, you're having, let's say, a 1% pickup rate. Okay, what is it that we're doing wrong? Like, are we not calling enough? Are we calling at different times? And this is something that happened to me myself. I found out that my number was going to spam. And also around, I think, the same time that you were referencing to. And then I had to make some changes. I had to subscribe to a tool that registers our numbers. And then all of a sudden, we got a huge increase in the pickup rate and a conversion as well. But without a CRM to be able to tell you these things, you're not going to be able to know, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the one thing that tracking of everything, you know, I always believe that things that you track normally will actually grow. So if you're sitting on there and you're tracking your true numbers on a regular basis for pendings and the processes and things that happen, you start to really be able to realize that. And once again, in the areas where you're doing really well, in the areas where you suck, and you need to step up and figure it out. And having that tracking metrics in the background is the only way that's going to happen. And a CRM will do that for sure.
Leads come in. How do you utilize a CRM after the deal is under contract and after the deal closes?
Well, so once again, I'm a bit of a Zapier nut, as I've been coined to be from time to time.
That's an understatement.
I think they should be paying you by now, Omar.
You should be on payroll, definitely, for safe.
Oh no, I'm paying still for sure. Yeah, I think through my systems, I use probably 6,000 to 7,000 tasks a month through Zapier's automations right now. Leave me alone, Sharif. Anyway, so within the transaction, and once again, a lot of the smart plans are created based on different things. So, you know, so there's a tag. If a person that we're working with is a mortgage, you know, because we all know mortgage versus cash process are going to be 2 different things. especially in New York. Sorry to tell you guys, anyone out there who's maybe thinking about getting a real estate in New York, our process is very long over any other, probably just about every other state. It takes me about 3 months to close most deals. So when I'm sitting out there and I have a person that's mortgage, I need to be prepared to make sure I have touches in place as the process goes along. So a lot of times we have an automation that'll go, once a person gets an offer accepted, there's a list of steps that happen. There's an email that goes out with our list of inspectors, our list of attorneys, the different people that we like to want to use and want to make sure that we, and it's very easy. If I stop liking an attorney, I remove them off that email and add in the new ones. Makes it very easy to just also keep up who you're comfortable with referring it to your clients. And then at that time of accepted offer, it tells my agents all the steps that need to be done. It tells them, okay, so you need to do this. Is it a condo? You need to make sure we do this. You know what I mean? Like, so all the lists of steps that they need to do starts to break out right in front of their face upon changing that lead to accepted offer if it's a mortgage, because naturally now there's a process that's different, making sure the loan officer has things. Once we get pending or we get the deal actually going to under contract, I have a couple little, initial congratulations for going under contract. Then I have a 10-day moving hack email that starts the day after that. So it's literally 1 day each day. It's like just different little tips to help them move right at the time of pending, because normally that's now where everybody should be packing and getting ready to go. And then at the end of that, we have an automatic review, an email that goes out that asking for a review at that point of contract. Because now, in my opinion, we've pretty much now had 12 days straight of you getting something from us once you're under contract. And I feel like most agents don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you're not, normally once you get under contract, they go ghost on you. You're like, now you're under contract, there's no need to talk to you. So it's one of those things that I like to make sure that there's still touches happening as that process is moving along. And then once we get to close, we have a consistent follow-up that goes out for the next, and that's all automated. You know what I mean? Outside of just throwing in the occasional call piece that happens from the smart list and, views, as Lofty states it, inside the CRM, but we have pretty much a touch that'll go out every couple months on a person, even after closing, just by running the smart plan and having it automated.
Great. I love that. Is there a time, I guess, when automation is too much or can actually be bad for business?
I feel like you have to have some level. Like, I don't like to, like, some of my agents wanted me to put together a smart plan for a lead that is like, or a lead or a person that they considered hot. I'm like, if you can't touch base with somebody who's trying to buy in the next month or two, you shouldn't be here. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I mean, to me, I don't need something automated to kind of just know that I want to check in with a person once a week or so. That should really be more of a personal touch. You've had that conversation, your text message, your messaging in reference to your text that you're sending, the voicemails you might be leaving are going to be different. You know what I mean? Like, so getting too automated on that, to me, I felt was overkill. Or if someone's in a deal, outside of those little touches to just make sure things are happening in the deal, but you should be then explaining and talking to them about the deal. And making sure that they're comfortable with everything that's going along with it. One of the smart plan pieces is every week, give them a call. Call the person just to make sure that they're okay with the process and the steps that they're at, because we're trying to make sure that there's a spot where everyone feels like they understood their process as it was going along, and it was done in a manner where they're not feeling overwhelmed on the back end, and they don't feel like their agent just abandoned them once they got under contract.
Yeah. I mean, it is a relationship business, right? So, you said it in the beginning, we have to still continue to talk to the lead and nurture the lead ourselves, because if it's too automated, then why are we here, right? It's not just to open up the door and just show them a house or just one appointment. And then if it's too automated, then, the agent can just go and then just find a website and that can do everything from start to finish. So exactly. I mean, people still want that personal touch overall, so we can't depend too much on automation. I think automation is great to get the initial process started, and then also remind us of certain tasks. Same thing with AI, right? Like, I know there's so many things that AI can do now, like, AI texting, AI phone calls, and all of these things, but people will pick up on that. People want to talk to a human being. They don't want to talk to an AI. They want to know who they're talking to. They want to build that relationship, and they want to work with somebody they can trust, right? And it can't be all automated that way.
Yeah, exactly. I think automation works great for that nurture down the line piece, you know what I mean? But, on the upfront and kind of really building the rapport, you have to do that personally. I mean, you have to kind of actually really step in and start to make that, take that time, because the time is, if you don't put the time in, I was just talking with someone yesterday, telling them you got to fall in love with the work. Like, you can't fall in love with the result. Everyone will be happy and will want your results. You know what I mean? But no one, if anyone knows the work that I know both of you gentlemen, the work that you both put in, and I feel like I'm getting myself there. But yeah. But yeah, if you don't fall in love with the work part of it, if you're not able to enjoy and really dive into wanting to do the work and the effort part, you don't really want the result. And that's just really what it comes down to, because everyone will say it's not a situation where you're just going to wake up one day and the deal's going to be closed in your lap. You had to put work in front of it to make it happen. And if you're not willing to do that, then you can. It's better to go ask if you want fries with that.
I love it though. I mean, but automations, it helps you or it hurts you, right? That's what we're saying too. It's a great point to bring up, because there's not always good things that happen, and embracing the suck is what we like to say, Omar, actually loving the work, right? Doing the nitty gritty, grinding on a daily, doing the same pretty much tasks on a daily to get the success out there. But I mean, even myself, I've had automations actually stab me in the back. Even after getting a listing signed, our admin staff forgot to change the stage. So that client continued to get those nurture emails that help you, land the appointment, right? But because of such, the guy got so pissed off that he was getting off the wall emails like, hey, how would you feel if your home didn't sell in 6 months? When we just signed this listing, that he didn't take that too well. But you got to understand, it's the type of email that you're sending out to a person that's a lead where you're trying to grab their attention. And unfortunately, it does stab you in the back. So there is a human aspect. You're right, Peter. I mean, you got to dive in there. And it's really just supposed to help you add more accountability, help automate the process where you're kind of picking out the leads out of your system where they're actually, going to transact or want to communicate what's going on. It should be the agent that actually does it.
Yeah, and I think certain scenarios too, like I've had this happen to me where thought certain automations were supposed to work, so we don't have to think about it, that a lead should be automatically, like we have an automation as an example where if the lead is not being contacted in a certain amount of days, it should put them into a reassigned pond or something from the team members. And sometimes for whatever reason, like if a certain tag was not added, like the system will not know if it's a buyer or a seller as an example, which the automation should be doing. And it just stays there. So like I was going through a lot of those leads last week, and then I was like, going with each team member, like we schedule a monthly call to go over their leads and everything that they're doing. And I'm like, you haven't talked to this person in over a year. Why is that? And then we go back and see, well, the automation didn't work, right? Well, this lead is a lost lead most likely by now. So we can also depend on that. And one of the things that you guys all know, we got to obviously inspect what we expect and inspect also the technology and the automations that we're thinking that there should be working on a consistent basis, because sometimes they break, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they break all the time.
Yeah.
I literally had that problem yesterday. I sent the screenshot over to Lofty, my CRM, to tell them that, hey, look, this smart plan piece isn't working. So which is now messing up my smart list piece that I'm working on. So yeah, we already same thing just happened.
Yeah, I mean, just like we need a human touch to talk to the lead, I think we also need a human to inspect the automations, also make sure that the systems are working, at least if it's once a week. I mean, that's something, you drilled in my head, Sharif, like, we would be talking and we're like, oh, open up your CRM. What's going on with all these leads, right? Like, and it's true. Like, it's crazy that sometimes you think that everything is going to be working. You can just kind of rot it in the back burner and not think about it. But sometimes they don't. And sometimes, there's loopholes that I guess the technology doesn't pick up on. So.
Yeah. It definitely does happen. Cleaning up and looking down your various smart plans and stuff you put in every so often to just make sure that they're all working as they do. I do it with, and it's a bit of a headache on my end, but I do it with Zapier probably every couple months, just making sure that everything that I put together is running how it should. Because sometimes, or I figure out a way to make it more efficient or clean it up, take a little bit of time to do that. Not as much time as I used to, Sharif, but, I take a little bit of time to get it, to make sure that everything's running as it should.
Awesome. Well, Omar, how can people find out more about you, get in touch with you if they have a referral in your area?
All right, well, I'm in the Hudson Valley, New York area. I'm also in Connecticut. I'm also dual licensed for the state of Connecticut as well. You can definitely find me on my site on www.rewithheart. We'll go into the name another time, but rewithheart.com. is where you can find me there. And you can find me on the same way on socials. You know, that's pretty much the easiest way, or just my name, Omar Harper, through any socials would be there as well.
Well, thank you so much, Omar. It was definitely a pleasure having you on the podcast. Guys, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on the podcast, on a YouTube video, and feel free to reach out to us if you need help with automation, especially to Omar. I'm sure I know Omar is such a giver. I think he even started a Facebook group, right? Don't you have a Facebook group?
Yeah.
Just about Lofty?
I started a Lofty CRM Beyond and Basics Facebook group. So if anyone's a Lofty user and you need some help with Baseline, I'm actually going to be setting up another webinar for this month to go over and go into some of the things I've been using in Lofty that I figured out have helped me a lot. Yeah, definitely started a Facebook group for it. Yeah.
Awesome. And guys, we also have a Facebook group ourselves. So we're going to put the link to the Facebook group below on the description. So if you are a real estate agent, it doesn't matter where you are. We're always putting certain, content and tips and things. And it's very interactive. A lot of people are sharing different scenarios that they're dealing with. So if you're in the business, just make sure that you go to that group, Facebook group, and then we'd love to connect with you there as well.
Awesome.
All right.
All right,
Great.
guys. Thanks for having me.
See ya. Bye.
All right, guys.